Middlesex began their NatWest T20 Blast campaign with a 7-wicket defeat with an over of the game against Gloucestershire in Bristol remaining. That in spite of a career-best performance with the bat from Nick Compton. Ian Cobain won the toss and decided to bowl first, and Middlesex had to wait until the end of the third over before Paul Stirling struck the first boundary, although that was followed up with 2 off the next 2 balls from Compton. Suddenly, the pace of the innings picked up. Matt Taylor's first over, the 4th of the innings, going for 17. The runs started to come thick and fast, with both openers getting off to a flyer now. The 50 partnership coming up in the 5th over, just as Compton was dropped in the deep when on 24. The visitors would have been pleased with the way things were developing, especially with Stirling looking in excellent touch, working the ball to the offside boundary on more than one occasion, as Middlesex ended the 6 overs of power play on an encouraging 63 without loss. The breakthrough came midway through over number 7 as Stirling played this delivery from Taylor back onto his stumps, but an opening stand of 65 in 39 balls would have done. The Irishman gone for a 24-ball 39. Joe Burns, making his Middlesex debut, had a life on 4 when Geraint Jones missed a stumping off Jack Taylor. But the Australian didn't make the most of his let-off as he perfectly picked out Hamish Marshall at long off, the fielder not having to move. Burns was gone for 5 at 76 for 2. Halfway through their innings, Middlesex had reached 79 for 2, but Adam Voges was now in, and he was soon continuing his exceptional form of late. Compton meanwhile reached his 50 off 36 balls, 4 fours included, and he was using all of the trickery in his armoury to keep the board ticking over. The former Somerset man was enjoying his return to the West Country. 5 overs to go and the score read 124 for 2. Compton, passing his previous best T20 score of 74, made for Somerset at home to Essex 5 years ago. He was dropped again on 76 but did go for 78 as James Fuller had him LBW on the reverse to the batsman's 53rd delivery, but Compton had done a fine job given Middlesex's problems at the top of the order in this competition over the past couple of years. With 2 overs left, the score read 151 for 3, Middlesex having to wait until the 5th ball of the penultimate over for their first 6, a glorious straight hit by captain James Franklin. And he added a second to the very last ball of the innings, ending on 15, Voges with 31, as Middlesex settled for 175 for 3 from their 20 overs. To defend that on a good pitch, early wickets were required, and Stephen Finn got one with his 5th ball, Chris Dent mishitting to Burns at point in the 2nd over of the reply. But Gloucestershire were showing plenty of intent, and Marshall went after Harry Podmore, he being hit towards the new flats at this well-appointed ground. Marshall started strongly as the weather worsened, the visiting attack needing sawdust for their arrival at the crease. That didn't help Podmore, who was blasted down the ground by Cobain. It was Marshall who looked the danger at this stage, however, a beautifully timed pick-up off James Harris, going all the way as the home team responded with a score of 64 for 1 in the power play, the Kiwi on 39 of them. Middlesex had managed only 16 runs from the end of the 6th over to the 10th of their innings, but Gloucestershire were making much more of that same spell in reply as Cobain and Marshall began to put the home side in control. They'd reached 92 for 1 after 10, Marshall completing his half-century of 33 balls, an innings containing 5 fours and 2 sixes. Simply put, Middlesex needed to see the back of him, and quickly. The game was beginning to run away from the visitors, Cobain sending Neil Dexter into the distance as the 100 was brought up in the 11th over, and the acting home captain smashed a 3rd maximum in the same over as the target was brought down to just 67 of the final 9 overs. Finn was brought back on to take wickets, and he got one with his 2nd delivery, Marshall edging behind on 56 to finish a 98-run partnership made in 9.5 overs. In at number 4 for the Gloucesters was Peter Hanscom, who had a T20 average of 171 in 11 matches, including a ton. That was halved here as he was bowled first ball by Harris. So Cobain was now the key. His 50 was made off 30 balls with 3 sixes and 4 fours. However, an excellent Harris over had altered the chase a bit, down to 66 off the last 7 overs. And that task would have been more difficult had John Simpson been able to hold on to an edge standing up to Ravi Patel, which let Cobain continue. A couple of missed fields on the boundary's edge didn't help Middlesex either. The target, thanks to them, being reduced to 35 off the last 30 balls. An opening game defeat was a certainty from here. The poor light was not helping the batsman now though, but Cobain was seeing the ball okay. His fourth maximum, a drive over extra cover off Padmore, having the home team on the brink of victory. Cobain was able to record his career best, beating the 84 he made last year at Sussex, achieving that with an extraordinary shot. And he won the game with a straight 6, his 5th, to end unbeaten on 91 off 49 balls, an innings that took this game away from Middlesex, who lost by 7 wickets with 6 balls to spare. The lack of too many shots like that one in their innings costing them big time. So it was a disappointing start to this long competition for a side which must have been filled with confidence after their displays recently in red ball cricket. They will look to kickstart their T20 campaign when they take on Kent at Lords on Thursday, May the 28th.